Hi, this is Joyce DeWitt. You might remember Janet from Three's Company. And you are listening to Gary and Gretchen on Mix 96.5.
What are some of your fondest memories of Three's Company?
Oh, gosh, shooting that show, we rehearse in a rehearsal hall just like a play, and then we rehearse with the cameras once we had the play put together, and then we would do it live at the end of the week for two different audiences, one at 5:30 and again at 8 o'clock. And the shooting of that show every week, no matter what challenge might have gone into getting it together or getting it right before curtain went up, the actual doing of the show for the audience every single time was nothing but sheer ecstasy.
That's neat.
Absolutely. It was as much fun as it looked like, and I think that's why the show was so successful. People could tell we were having that much fun.
What was
It was just nutty. We were trying to do a contemporary version of a 16th century farce.
Yeah.
Which is just wild, silly, nutty humor that doesn't stop.
Absolutely. What was John Ritter like?
Very much. There are all kinds of parts of John. There's a father and a grown-up and, a man and all of that. But there's a part of John that likes to make sure everybody's having a good time. And that part of himself is the part that he used for this character. Mm-hmm. So he would be cutting out as much scenes as on. And, most of the stuff you couldn't possibly put on television at the time. You might be able to now, but not then.
How did he rehearse all those physical things, the physical comedy part? Did he really go through all those things in dress rehearsal and everything?
Oh, absolutely. You can't write that kind of stuff.
No.
You have to kind of find that in the moment. And, of course, John has a great gift for it. But all of that had to just be created. Mm-hmm. And in the shows like the show where we fly off to the island, this guy that I've met, that Janet's met, and Jack goes with her, and he takes and he ends up getting loaded because he's taking the air sickness pill and he has wine. That kind of stuff. John created that.
Oh, yeah?
Is that the episode where he had the plant on his head?
Yes.
Yes.
He just, and he is very, very in the moment, spontaneously creative all the time. That's why I say working with him, your face would hurt by the end of the day because you'd turn and he'd be over there off stage, not supposed to be doing anything, and he'd be doing some ridiculous thing that you would die laughing at.
Janet, Joyce, the channel, cable channel E did a story on Suzanne Summers and the whole Three's Company not too long ago. What's your take on the ordeal with her contract problems and all that?
Well, first let me say that John and I were both crushed by the E program because of the hours and hours in interviews that they did. The 10% of each interview that was dark and heavy is what they used for the whole program.
Oh.
The 90% of everybody's interview that talked about all the wonderful stuff that went down there was left on the cutting room floor.
Really?
Wow.
So it was very sad for us that someone would think, as far as I'm concerned, the only reason worth remembering Three's Company is that it made us all laugh.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So that
good.
program was like, hello.
Sure.
And in lieu of Suzanne's situation with our producers, it was a battle, a contractual battle over money. It was very, very difficult for everybody, but it really was a fight that went down between them and did not involve the actors in the rehearsal hall. So it's something that was sort of a separate issue. At the same time, it had very serious feelings caused. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. Everybody was very uncomfortable, and it was a very sad time for everybody, including Suzanne, and ended up as it did. And who would have thought that she would have been let go from the show? But that's what happened.
Right.